Welcome to Astoria, Oregon. Cindy and I are going to spend the next 3 days here. We're going to be seeing some of the sights, and I hope you can join us. The history of the origins of Astoria are a little bit complicated. In 1811, Fort Astoria was established by John Jacob Astor, who wanted to expand his fur trading empire to the Pacific Ocean. In 1812, the United States and Britain were at war with each other. And so the British company, the Northwest Fur Company, negotiated control of Fort Astoria, and now it was no longer Fort Astoria. It became known as Fort George. They renamed it. It was now in British control. In 1818, a treaty was signed between the United States and Britain that gave the Pacific Northwest to both powers. So both powers had joint control of the Pacific Northwest. In 1821, the Northwest Fur Company, the British company, was absorbed by the Hudson Bay Company, another fur trading company, which moved its headquarters to Fort Vancouver, about 100 miles upstream. And at that time, in 1824, Astoria, or Fort Astoria, finally became totally under American control. But right now, we're going to enjoy our first adventure on this trip to Astoria. Right now, Cindy and I are at the Columbia Maritime Museum right across from it, and there's a trolley stop here, so we're going to try out the Astoria trolley today. It runs along Riverwalk, and it should be a fun way to explore Astoria, at least a part of it.
Blockade on the rails. So instead of doing a 3-mile run, we're running from here about 1.5 miles that way and back. So I want to make sure you guys are good with that. And so we got to turn it around. Do I have some volunteers? I got one volunteer.
One volunteer to do what?
Come on aboard. I'm going to show you how we do it, okay?
Very gently set it down. Very good. Be careful, don't drop them. Don't drop them.
Okay, Cindy and I are aboard the Astoria trolley, and we even helped turn the seats around because it's gonna, instead of turning the whole trolley around, we just lift the back of the seats and move the back of the seat to a different side, and suddenly everybody can face the right direction.
So a little history about this trolley. We call it the old 300. Old because it is old. 300 because it was the 300th car built by the American Car Company in St. Louis, Missouri. And that year was 1913. After she was completed, moved to San Antonio, Texas, and the trolley ran for 20 buses. And the old 300 was put in a local museum left outside, rather neglected. Lake Oswego suburb outside of Portland along the Willamette River. souvenirs that you may be interested in that are at the both ends of the trolley. One of my favorites is the times the size. We call those the international rocks. During the sailing days, when ships would come across, they needed ballast or weight. So they would load up their hull with the rocks from their country of origin. When they reached here, they needed to unload so they could take on whatever cargo was left. So those rocks came off the ship. They're from countries from all over the world. Cannery Pier, Hotel, and Spa. It was the home of the Union Cannery, about 4 times the size. But back in 2000, one of the cannery worker's son, Jake Jacobs, decided he would like to build a boutique hotel on the original pilings of the cannery. And he was met with a lot of skepticism. Jake, you can't do that. You know, it's those old pilings. And who's going to come to sleepy town of Astoria to a boutique hotel? So he persisted. The pilings were reinforced. He built that on there, and it opened in 2005. It's been honorable mentions and Condé Nast over the years. It is a wonderful place to stay. See the ship traffic go by. You check in, they'll give you a manifest saying what ships are going to be coming in and out of the river, what country they're from, and what they're picking up or delivering. It's quite an adventure. And a quick stop here. We'll pick up a couple riders.
For the western end of the Astoria Riverwalk, this memorial commemorates the lives lost at sea.
Is a viewing platform. When a ship comes in, it is passing, within 100 feet or so, maybe a little bit more, of that platform. It's quite a sight. Right now it is shut down for some maintenance on this.
One tip: sit on the riverside part of the trolley. It'll be the best sight both ways. You can catch a ride on the trolley at a number of stops. You can also flag it down. But make sure you hold up a dollar bill so the conductors will know you're not just waving at them. So Cindy and I got on the trolley right at the first, right when they first started their shift for the day. And we and a few other people, handful, were the only people on the trolley. But now we're coming back and the trolley is pretty full. There isn't hardly a seat left. So it pays to catch it first. And we caught it at the Maritime Museum, which seems to be a good place to pick up the trolley. You can park there, and it's right now during this season when there's some construction going on part of the track. That's a good place to start from. When you plan your trip to Astoria, you're going to want to check what hours the trolley runs, and it doesn't run every day. I'll provide a link in the description below. In the meantime, Cindy and I are off to our next adventure, and it's right next door. The Columbia River Museum, which has exhibits both inside and outside, celebrates the seafaring and river history of the area with a collection of vessels, artifacts, and hands-on activities that will help you appreciate life on the river and the past, and provide context for your own explorations of Astoria and places nearby. From the 1850s, riverboats were a major way of transporting both people and goods up and down the Columbia River. A major portion of the museum is dedicated to showcase the life, history, and culture of the native inhabitants of the area long before Europeans arrived. Another section of the museum focuses on World War II. I was reminded that losses are suffered and felt on both sides of any conflict. Known as the Graveyard of the Pacific, there are more than 330 shipwrecks documented at or near the mouth of the Columbia River. The most famous of these is the Peter Iredale. Cindy and I are going to visit it tomorrow, or for you in our next episode. If you get tired of being on your feet, the museum also offers a 3D theater that offers educational films that run about 20 to 25 minutes each. The gift shop has all the usual souvenirs, plus a large collection of books to choose from. With our entry tickets to the museum, we also have access to the lightship Columbia. It's a self-guided tour, and the hours that you can visit this ship are different than the rest of the museum, so check the website first before you go. Always good advice on any trip. You can wander around the deck of the ship, walk up to the wheelhouse and take a peek inside, then work your way below deck to see where the crew worked and lived. Cindy knows exactly how you're supposed to go down the stairway on a ship. From 1951 to 1979, the USS Columbia River Lightship served as a beacon, a water-based lighthouse, permanently anchored near the mouth of the Columbia River until it was replaced by an automatic navigation buoy. 18 men were stationed on it. Supplies and relief crews were brought into it by other ships. The crews normally stayed aboard for anywhere between 2 weeks to 4 weeks. Especially in winter, the crew would have to ride out violent storms and high waves, but I imagine most of their time aboard was monotonous and boring. I'll leave links in the description below so that it will help you with your planning. Right now it's time for Cindy and me to check out our sleeping arrangements for the next couple of nights. After visiting the Columbia Maritime Museum, we checked into our motel. We chose the Atomic Motel because it fit our budget and had generally good reviews. One of our relatives had stayed there and recommended it to us also. The lobby was definitely aiming for a kitschy 60s vibe. One negative thing that the reviews I read mentioned was that the included breakfast was pretty sparse. But that's okay because I found out that one of my favorite restaurants was right next door. Our room was clean, quiet, and comfortable, and Cindy and I slept great the 2 nights we were there. Another advantage this location had was that it was only a couple of blocks from our very next activity. So after resting for a bit, getting our stuff situated, we headed out the door. Our motel, the Atomic Motel, is about a block and a half away from the riverwalk of Astoria. So we're walking down here, we're taking a late afternoon, early evening walk along the riverwalk, headed towards some shopping areas, but enjoying the views and the walk itself. The Astoria Riverwalk follows an old railroad line, from which you can see ships, sea lions, breweries, museums, places to eat, and just enjoy views of the water, the Columbia River. The total path comprises about 6.5 miles of concrete, pavement, and boardwalk. We followed the path for only about 1.25 miles from our motel to the location of the Columbia River Maritime Museum. And then we were getting hungry, so it was time to return back to our motel and make plans for dinner. I mentioned one of my favorite restaurants is right next door to our motel, and it is the Pig and Pancake. It was established in 1961 and serves the cities of Astoria, Seaside, Cannon Beach, Lincoln City, Newport, all on the Oregon coast. And while it's not fancy, not elegant, I enjoy going there and eating breakfast, or in this case, going there and eating dinner. We are having our breakfast at dinner time at the Pig and Pancake, and Cindy and I are both ordering the, what are we having? Strawberry crepe combo, and we're both getting bacon with that and a couple of eggs, and so we're having breakfast at dinner time. And then after we finish this, then we're going to head over to the Astoria column to see what it looks like as the sun is about to set. I think it should be pretty fantastic. Okay, so I'm having strawberry crepes, bacon, and eggs. And the bacon, I was just commenting to Cindy, is very thick, very meaty, very good. And I don't see how you can go wrong if you have well done strawberry crepes with whipped cream. So after dinner, Cindy and I headed up Coxcomb Hill to the Astoria column, which is Astoria's highest point, with a magnificent view, 360 degrees. The Astoria column was built in 1926, 100 years ago. It was financed by a descendant of John Jacob Astor, the millionaire tycoon who founded Astoria to start with, and a railroad company. The column itself is 125 feet tall, and if you want to climb up it, you can. Just go through this door, and climb up the spiral staircase until you get to the top. 164 steps. Cindy and I are going to save climbing the tower till our third day here. One of the cool things about the Astoria Tower is the mural that covers the outside of it. It's a single mural that spirals its way from the bottom to the top, recounting key moments in Oregon history. Native Americans before Lewis and Clark. Lewis and Clark arriving at Fort Clatsop, on and on, up to 1926, whatever was happening then. What's kind of odd too is that the outside mural spirals up in the opposite direction that the staircase spirals inside. But I did want to come up here tonight because of the sunset. The way the light shines on the Astoria Tower is just perfect, and you've got a beautiful sunset to enjoy. So consider this the sunset edition of the Astoria Tower. Well, it's coming to the end of our first day in Astoria. Cindy and I started the day off with a 3-hour drive from Salem to get here, and then we packed a lot into the day so far. I can't think of a more perfect way though to end the day than be up here at the Astoria column and watching the sunset. And I'm not the only one who had that idea. There's a lot of people up here who are doing exactly the same thing. So just to let you know, tomorrow we have a pretty jam-packed day as well. So after we finish here, we're going to head back to our motel, get a good night's rest, and start our day off with lots of activities in mind. Cindy and I have 2 more days in Astoria. I hope you come back and join us. In the meantime, check out these videos, subscribe if you haven't, and keep on having your own adventures. Bye for now.